Can someone send me the link?
I will announce it. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, I have one question
Yep.
really
Go ahead.
quickly. Okay, how much alcohol am I allowed to drink
One stream.
right now?
Um. Well,
I
how old are
just
you
woke
again?
up,
You're 17,
okay?
right?
I'm all you need to know is I'm legally allowed to drink right now.
Well, I will preferably. I mean, I guess a little bit is okay. Just not too much. Not anywhere we
To
can.
make you go crazy,
Yeah. No, just remember, just enough to not get us banned. Okay,
Don't
I'm
worry,
gonna
I
go
have
Or
start
why is
after.
why,
Siberia.
why
I
is the
can
why is
hold
the
as much as I need.
why is the stream marked as
What is it marked as? Because I think it should be like politics or something. I remember setting it up as that.
yeah, it's politics. Oh, Twitch. I see what they're doing.
Yep. Why is chat not appearing? Wait, shit. Is anybody here yet? Is anybody here?
I just love in the background. I hear that.
What does it say?
beep.
Oh yeah. Oh, this broadcaster has indicated because I don't know because we will be engaging in mature topics. It's inevitable in politics. So I said it as mature audiences.
Yeah.
Before we fully get started, I got so disappointed in the 2020 elections.
The American
Biden
ones.
promised to I Biden promised to end Trump's campaign, but then he's deported double Trump every day since his inauguration. I'm scared for
We
my
have 7
citizenship.
viewers.
We have 7 viewers. Hi, welcome. Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Checking the main screen. Shit, I forgot. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Marxists podcast, first episode and stream of the podcast. We will be all the podcast episodes will be uploaded onto YouTube. I should add the link in our social links. But yeah, welcome. That's more than I expected for the first day. But hi. Um. I guess we should start off. Let's see. I have to pull up chat. Shit, I don't have chat on.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah, the chat is empty. I mean, practically empty.
Yeah, for now. It's 2 viewers, but alright. But hi. I just need to pull it up just in case. But I guess we could start now.
I agree.
Let's see. Let's start off. Intro already done. Let's see. Shit, I should have prepared. But hi. Yep, people are here. I think that should be good. Hold on. I think the stream is lagging a bit. Um. Shit. I can't. Hi. Oh shit, we have 7 viewers. Oh shit. Welcome to the podcast. Today we'll just be really introducing ourselves, how we became communists, and that's basically it. Let's start off. I with me, I guess. I can hear myself, but that's okay. Um, I'm
Yeah.
Miguel. I am years old. I am from the Philippines. I am a Marxist. I'm a Marxist. I believe in a stateless and moneyless and classless society. Um, I am. That's basically it. I guess we can move on. Who wants to go? Finn? I guess you.
Yeah.
I guess you could
I'm
start.
Finn. I'm from Scotland. I am an eco-Marxist, and I believe that there should be a transitionary phase before we get to the revolution. Yeah.
Yeah. Leslie, can you introduce yourself?
Of course, of course. I believe in Leslieism. The point is that if possible, in everywhere around the world, the permanent revolution starts with everyone simply flipping to the stateless, classless, and manless society where the means of production are controlled directly by the worker, not by the workers. And everybody just does their fucking own, okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
However,
Thank
if
you.
that's not possible,
If you ever want to, because Leslieism is something I've never heard of. Well, I've heard of it. You've talked to me about it, but I'm pretty sure chat has never heard of it. But if you want to elaborate to chat what Leslieism is,
I
we can
mean,
do so.
it's just the other part that if that's not possible, then we just do a worldwide coup d'etat and just introduce a syndicate technocracy that goes towards anarcho-syndicalism and then abolishes itself.
Mhm.
That's basically.
I see. Kola, if you would like to introduce yourself and tell us about yourself, that would be nice. Where are you from? How old are you? What?
Leslie, I think I love you for your ideology.
That's a nice way to start off. At least we got
Okay.
along.
I'm
But please introduce yourself.
I'm Kola. Um, I'm originally from Russia, Eastern Siberia.
Oh,
I'm
I see.
16 years old.
Mhm.
Um, Frankly, my ideology is that I don't really know what my
I mean, you
ideology
don't have to put a
is.
label on yourself. Like I
I'm
don't know.
I'm
You can just be communist. You don't really have
I'm
to
a
put a label.
I'm a far right I'm a far right radical communist.
What
I've
do you mean?
gone
You
through
mean far
many
left
different
radical
phases in
communist,
my
not far right.
life. Oh yeah, fun. I
It's
just
alright. It's
woke
alright.
up.
This is a fascist communist,
Far.
guys.
That's a fascist communist. No, it's alright. It's
Yeah.
fucking 4 a.m. for you.
I'd
You're is
Nazi ball,
tried.
Nazi
like
ball.
to. I'm a far left radical communist.
I mean, do you
I
believe in like
guess
any
that
stances? Like,
I've always believed in I've always believed in a social and economic revolution. Most and if it can't be achieved by peaceful means, I would definitely pull a Ho Chi Minh on the world and just start a revolution if I really could. But I do like to think of myself as a I take a lot of inspiration from Ho Chi Minh because socialism has always been a second priority to me. The first
oh,
priority is
thank you
to
for the follow.
end
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
discrimination.
Sorry. Let me just. Thank you for the follow, Finn. There we go. Can there. Oh shit. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Fun Button. Continue, Cole. Is that it?
Um, I can go on if you'd like me
I mean, if
to.
you want to, go ahead. You can further elaborate. So, I mean, I think I should further
Okay,
elaborate though.
I
Go ahead.
okay, you can go.
No. You go,
No,
go.
you can go, sir.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Okay, but yeah, as I was saying before, the Twitch notification interrupted me. Um,
Yeah.
I've always seen as communism as a bit of a second priority. My first priority is to
Mhm.
end discrimination in most everyday life, because like I'm not insane. I know all discrimination's never going to truly end,
Yeah,
because like
humans have inherent biases.
everyone will. Yeah, humans have an inherent bias, and no matter how much I want to, I can't purge the people who have a bias.
Exactly. That would just be fucking cleansing.
Um, hey, sometimes a good cleansing of the Nazis is a good thing.
I mean, I guess we can all
But
agree on that. But I think I should further elaborate too. I think revolution is one of the
okay.
answers to well to eradicating the capitalist system rather than reform, which is oh fuck, rather than reforming it, because I think reforming capitalism is just impossible. Doing like SOCDEMs, I guess SOCDEMs are not really leftists in the sense that they want to reform capitalism rather than abolish it.
I mean, you have social reform or revolution. That's absolutely
Yeah,
has been
reforms.
covered, and it's
A complete
period.
social reform would be still it would still be a revolution,
I
eradicating
mean,
most.
yeah, no, reform is nice and all, but like you ain't gonna do much with it.
To do much. If you want to get rid of capitalism and imperialism as a whole, you might need revolution. You need revolution. But depends on what
You
kind
do,
of.
you do, because the
But
reform always has to be instituted by those who have social power.
exactly. Um, I think. I mean, depends on what kind of revolution. Do you think violent revolution is the answer, or social revolution, or a peaceful protest kind of revolution?
I mean, the thing that is most probable to succeed worldwide is just a number of stormings of capital institutions and so on, and just people taking over.
So violent revolutions. They're violent like
Well,
uprisings.
it is violent, but it's the least violent possible, because if you have, you can have 5 years of like very peaceful trench warfare and so on, and that will cause more deaths than just storming the parliament.
Yeah, storming at the core. I mean, taking down the core would be a lot more efficient and and probably a lot faster than spending years and years in a trench fighting a endless revolution that probably won't succeed because you are taking more casualties.
Wait, so I'm taking Impervs and Leslie are revolutionists then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about you, Cola?
What about are you would you be
they're
are you
they're
would
a coalaist.
I mean I assume they would
I'm
be for some kind of revolution. They're radical communists. Oh shit.
um
Thank you, Dash, for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the stream.
how can I truly voice my opinion without sounding somewhat genocidal?
um, I
That's
mean,
not a good
Uh,
start, I say.
that's
TOS,
not a good
TOS,
Um
start.
TOS.
um, I think we should. I
I
think we
I
should. That's TOS on
personally
Twitch mentioning
believe
genocide.
that I personally believe that a is it? Oh shoot. I don't do it. I've never even been on that website, I'll be honest with you.
Do you have you like?
Um
What do you
I'm
mean?
I'm
One side?
Um,
I'm used to
like
I'm used to I'm used to Facebook, okay? And
Oh,
they
Facebook.
don't ban me
Facebook
for
is a
anything.
cesspool for right wingers.
want
I
want me to like read the TOS? Want me to read the TOS?
I mean the only thing where it's banned is
Do it.
slur. I
Wait.
think the only thing that we can't say are slurs and genuine harassment.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You have
It's
you.
my own
I mean, like,
personal belief that
But yeah.
sorry Leslie, I cut you off. I apologize. But my personal belief is that no matter what, even if you're trying to be peaceful, you will have to fight. If you don't want to fight, you've
Peace.
already lost the revolution.
I mean, peace is
I
peace.
believe
Being
in
peaceful
a
is probably
revolution, yeah.
one of the first steps in before revolution. Negotiation is always you try to negotiate before engaging in violent revolution. Like I don't know.
Okay, let me
I mean,
give you a let me give you a scenario that I've personally been in. Okay, I currently live in the United States.
Arkansas, correct?
I
If
live
I'm
in
not
the
wrong.
state of Arkansas.
Yep.
I am the leader of a decently sized group of people who we like to call ourselves the Arkansas Communist Party, because the actual Arkansas Communist Party is a bunch of anarcho-fascists.
Really? I've never heard of
But
anarcho-fascists.
it's national anarchism.
Oh, that's okay. No.
essentially it's anarchism, but only the whites get freedom.
That's just a stupid ideal, but yes, go on.
But as I was saying, we kept trying to peacefully protest. Okay, I personally gave a speech, and I said that it was a person's duty to, if a government is tyrannical, to then topple and rebuild that government.
I think this
We
is
were
like a
completely
lot.
peaceful, and then I was then following getting arrested, and I faced charges of neo-terrorism.
Fucking what? Really? Where are you from again? Fucking Arkansas,
Yeah,
right? That is, I'm
I
not gonna
live
lie,
in
that is just
Arkansas,
stupid.
yes, and
That is just
the reason I
stupid.
was the reason I was charged was apparently I was calling or trying to incite violence against the US government, even though I never actually said to take any violent action against the government.
I mean, I mean, if we take someone who actually incited violence, like in the U.S., like against the U.S. government, like I don't know, fucking Trump.
Trump.
That's just the most obvious one. The Capitol protests. Most of them were charged with domestic terrorism. Yes.
Stand back, stand by.
I
We're
mean,
going to march on the Capitol.
I may
Yeah.
have something to
Yeah.
add to that
Yeah.
negotiation thing.
Go
Not
ahead.
long ago, here we had a movement here that tried to encircle the parliament and force the parliament members to vote themselves out of the parliament and dissolve the government.
Hmm. How did?
And I think that if we actually succeeded one day in this, it could actually work out if we were armed or so on, encircle the parliament and then force the parliament to surrender and to just dissolve itself. You don't need to like storm in and kill everybody and have a violent.
You
You
don't
can
need to
negotiate.
fucking mass
Yeah,
murder the
you can negotiate.
politicians.
You can negotiate.
Yeah, that's a bit different then, because I think that you can use both reform to the maximum visibilities and move it as by instituting left policies and increasing class consciousness and increasing the popularity of the left and decreasing Red Scare, and then when you've got sort of you've got as far as you can with reform, then you go to revolution. You don't, in my opinion, I don't think you can just do it off the like just one day you have a revolution, because I think
The
it
rebel,
just it
if and
becomes very unpopular in my
uh,
opinion.
yeah,
Like
because
after that.
an instant revolution would cause death, and that would just decrease the popularity of the revolution.
I mean, of course, you can't just expect to do that. You have to do reforms, but you have to do reforms because of other reasons, not because of
If it
changing.
doesn't work,
You,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
I mean,
think
the point of
yeah. Go on,
you
go on.
have you have as a leftist you have two goals: the temporary part and the permanent part. The temporary part is increasing the popularity and making sure that right now, um, like there
Or
is no
motivated.
there is
People
the
are.
least possible ableism, the least possible transphobia, and so on. Try to lower systemic racism and so on. Okay, that is one thing you do.
I mean,
The other thing is the permanent goal, and the permanent goal is the revolution. The temporary goal can be achieved through reform, sure, but the permanent goal cannot.
And what do you mean by the permanent revolution? What is the permanent revolution?
No,
I've
no,
heard
no.
it been
The
mentioned. I've heard
permanent
it been
goal.
mentioned in past works, even in songs. What is the permanent
The
revolution?
permanent revolution was an idea developed by Trotsky, and the actual point is that Stalin went like, okay, socialism in one country. You first take over one country, and then you try to little bit spread it. And if it doesn't spread, you just wait for others to revolt. While Trotsky was like, no, the revolution is finished only once we have destroyed all of capitalism. Let's go, go, go. And the point is that the permanent goal of when I speak
Oh,
of permanent goals, I mean
someone just
goals like
said something in chat. What the permanent revolution is? They say permanent revolution is part of the trot line. Is the constant exportation of material assistance to socialist movements around the world. So basically,
yeah.
supporting the
So
other revolutionaries
basically,
around the world.
The world
basically, no, no, no,
revolution.
no. The Soviet westward offensive. Do you know of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Soviet westward
Yes,
offensive would
sir.
be kind of a permanent revolution thing when you would just like go through Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Germany, France, and just crush the West like that. And doing this with the support of the Kommunistische Partei Deutschland and the Polish revolutionaries and so on, would be kind of very the permanent element in Europe. But then you would have to do that on a world scale, sure. And this is what Trotsky would go for later, advocating for it. Well, Stalin would just like, yeah, no, I have my Soviet Union. Let's do some imperialism. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's I think one of the faults of Stalin. He was just like, I already have the Soviet Union. I'm just gonna start erecting statues of myself all over the country, all over the nation, rather than try.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to export the revolution. They tried, such as North Korea. I'm not defending North Korea, but like what North Korea, the Viet Cong. Fucking they.
Vietnam, Soviets backed Vietnam,
Yeah.
Afghanistan.
I mean,
The entire
Afghanistan was more
war of
like an invasion.
Afghanistan was the Soviets
Afghanistan
were
was
part
more
of.
of an invasion.
Yeah, yeah. But I
I
think
mean,
it's
It
the
was an
Soviet
invasion
Union.
to back a communist insurgency.
yeah,
I think the Soviet Union was an imperialist country. I think we have to recognize that and recognize that
yes.
if
I
you
I think
institute imperialism and things like the come of imperialism, like spheres of influences, you go and colonize, you create dominions and puppets and satellites. Your
puppet
your
governments like
country will not work.
I mean, one of the very obvious puppet or satellite governments of the Soviet Union was the North Korea. North Korea was a puppet government. Fucking the GDR, German Democratic Republic. The Poland, Hungary. Actually, most of the Iron Curtain was just Soviet satellite states.
Hmm. Yeah, and also if you look at China,
China, yeah.
it's now imperialist because it's going after Hong Kong. It went after Tibet. It went after
I mean,
Manchuria.
as for like China, I agree, but the point is not in Hong Kong and Tibet. That's like that's neighbors. You cannot even. I mean, sure, but like the true imperialism of China is in the Balkans, is in Eastern Africa, is in the Middle East, in Latin America. This is what we have to fear of China.
That's true. That's true. But
They can
I'm
take
talking
people
about
all they
more.
want.
I mean,
I'm talking about more immediate sort of neighbors and borders of China and more immediate neighbors and borders of Soviet Union.
I think
Like you
eventually.
also, it's not just
Yeah. Sorry.
illegal.
Continue.
I was just gonna say you see it in America as well when when they go into like neighbor countries like Cuba, they were trying to invade in the Bay of Pigs. They try and invade all the countries that don't go against their ideology or don't go with them and aren't in their sphere of influence. And that's what we have to be afraid of is that if a country does not conform with them and is not actively against them, but is not actively for them, they will come for you.
Yeah. I think eventually, if China continues to still be the system it is now, it will eventually transition into a capitalist state. It already is a state capitalist. It already is a state
Mhm.
capitalist country.
I mean, it has free markets, so it's capitalist. Like
It's capital.
you
It's
can't do
already
much.
capitalistic. It's not. It's they still
Yeah.
have a lot of nationalization though. So
But that's also but they have more. We have more nationalization in Slovenia and in, I don't know, especially in the Nordic countries. But they are welfare capitalists.
are
Has
capitalists.
China
They
is
are still
basically
capitalists.
Yeah, exactly. Welfare capitalism is still capitalism, but China is welfare capitalism without welfare.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think state capitalist states, like, I don't know. Would you say Cuba is a socialist or a state capitalist country?
It has free markets.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's state capitalists.
Uh,
I think eventually, like most state capitalists, quote unquote socialist countries, they will eventually transition into some kind of capitalist state, like an act, like
I mean,
without a socialist party anymore and such.
I think there's a problem of the socialism in one country that is the opposite of the permanent revolution.
Yep.
Well, not. I mean, at least that part may be flawed of Stalin's
Yeah.
policies, because we can see that even the Soviet Union would go down that path. Then with perestroika, especially,
Sorry. Sorry.
Was it not for the August coup d'état and then for self-administration of Ukraine and so on, I'm pretty sure that even if Gorbachev did not resign, the thing would go down into Russian Federation and so on, because this is the inherent property of socialism in one country. If you have it for too long of a time without the world going completely that way, you will have the country outweighed by outside forces.
Yeah. And Gorbachev was a revisionist, yeah.
You know what revisionism is?
Well,
Revisionism is just taking a look again at the data and everything and just reassigning the
hello,
conclusions.
my
This can
mic
be
is not
good or
working.
bad, but
There we go.
it is working. Your mic is working.
Yeah,
When we
it
say
stopped registering. Yeah,
when we
keep
say
going.
someone is I mean, there's a difference between revisionism and between revisionism. You know, one thing is just going like, oh yeah, we found out new data about this and that. Let's change this.
That
Let's fix this.
let's
But another
adapt
thing
it.
is,
Let's change it to
but
adapt
yeah,
to.
let's adapt to new facts. But revisionism, as every Soviet leader did, and practically every leader did, is the bad revisionism of just going like, yeah, let's ignore everything we know and let's just praise myself and build a statue of me.
Exactly.
I mean,
Like, I don't know. Would you
yeah,
say like, I don't know, Stalin? Would you say
yeah,
Stalin was a
exactly.
revisionist? Like a revisionist.
Yes,
Revisionist.
yes. His interpretation of, especially, I mean, I can point at many things, but like, I don't know, his interpretation of anarcho-banditism as described by Lenin or stuff like that. It's a non-consecutor, as though he didn't read anything, like he doesn't even understand what he's saying half the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
He just says what furthers
We
the Kremlin.
kind of went off rails of what the fucking primary focus of the first stream was, is how we became Reds. But
Yeah.
let's start on that. Why don't we? Tell me about your political past. How did you start politically and etc. Like, I don't know, your pipeline. I don't know. Let's start with, I don't know, Finn. I'm interested in yours pipeline.
Yeah. So, I sort of just grew up in pretty like not. My grandparents, on both sides, are neoliberal conservatives, so they would support Reagan and Thatcher. And they're socially conservative, economically liberal. They'll support trickle down economics, stuff like that. My parents, they would probably support about, I would say, the modern Labour, which is still neoliberal to an extent, but is more centre right, but tries to appeal as they were the quote unquote left party of Europe or of the UK.
The
Um,
the
and
Labour Party, right?
yeah, they would have voted Labour, but what 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 happened was I watched. I think it's gonna be common. So I watched gaming videos, and
Yeah,
I was only 10. I was only 12, 13, and you watch game videos, you won't see any problem in it. It's just a video, and YouTube will recommend something like an SJW owned or feminist owned compilation. So I watch them
That's
because
how we all
like
fall down. Yeah.
yeah, it's like they're funny. It's to an extent it's funny
Haha.
to see some people
Like
get
I don't know, like how it's always starts off with like, haha, feminists are stupid. We already have equal rights here. Funny, kind of like that shit.
I can't really remember because I've not watched it in ages, but like
Yeah.
it's a sort of like idea that you'll look at it and you go, huh, they're able to debunk someone's sort of views really quickly. That's interesting.
Someone asked in chat if they I think they were referring to what you said about the labor, like Keir's labor or something.
It's Keir, Brown, Blair's Labour. All of them three, they are now what's classed as the modern Labour. They don't
Not really.
care
They're
about
not
the
really
people. They care
leftists.
about yeah.
They're
That's true.
neoliberals.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're neoliberals. They are for trickle-down economics, for organizations like
Oh,
IMF.
Charming is here. Charming is in chat. Hey Charming,
Yeah,
it's all right.
and so yeah, so back to the point, you'd watch these videos, you'd think, oh, they're able to debunk it easily. It's such a great sort of viewpoint. It's such a great argument. So you look at it and you think, oh, oh, they've recommended me Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, the Turning Point USA, PragerU, and
Yeah.
13 years old, you'll watch it and you'll think, this is amazing. These dudes know what they're talking about. And you'll watch it and you'll think,
It's ironic.
right, this is simple, got it. But you look back at it and go, that those arguments are stupid. They don't make any sense. They're just speaking fast. And
That's exactly
yeah,
what Ben
so
Shapiro is. All he does is talk, and he just says
yeah,
the same thing, repeat and repeat. It's just talking fast like this, and
yeah. I mean, that's the
hypothetically,
sort of
yeah. That's the
yeah,
point of them. They try to sound smart by talking fast and using big words, so they look like they
yeah.
know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and so I fell down the sort of thing where I was sort of siding with my, to an extent, racist sort of rhetoric and racist grandparents, and I was going, oh yeah, well, why can't I say, slurs? Why can't I say X, Y, Z? Because, I'm why I feel you know what I mean? Like you fall down that rhetoric, and then I think it's not until I started thinking about people and you go into the diversity of high school that you sort of see, what are these different viewpoints? And some of
When
them
you
were
start meeting people
that's
who are actually out there, like a diverse community. When you start meeting, I don't know, you start meeting people of color, you start meeting people of the LGBTQ community, QIA plus,
yeah.
etc.
And when you have something that challenges your viewpoint, and you look at it, because I sort of it doesn't come inherently, but you gain it. You look at both sides of the argument, and you have to weigh them up and say which one's facts and which one's just emotions, which one's just a sort of, I forgot the word for it, but it's like a retaliation. That's it, retaliation
Oh
argument.
yeah,
Like which one's I make a point and you just make sort of the point that's opposite rather than actually trying to gain social progress, etc. And so I weighed it up and I realized quite a lot of the views I was looking at were either misinformation, manipulated, or were just retaliative. Like I looked at it and I was like, doesn't make sense, And so I began to become more liberal and look for the rights of people. I looked at
you
things
eventually,
like this, and I was
yeah.
advocating for the bettering of people. And then I think it's mainly like figures that you look at in the left, like Bernie, is probably one of the main ones. Like the mainstream left that he has, or the mainstream that he's pointed the mainstream media towards the left. Whether like
But
whether they wanted to or not, they had to broadcast on socialist policies, and then people were confused by
unfortunately though,
socialism. So he
unfortunately,
explained it, and he's not left.
he's not
But
left at all.
my point is,
He's still
my
an
point is,
imperialist and a
my point.
capitalist.
Yeah, no, a person can do good for the left, and be a Soc Dem or whatever,
Yeah.
or Dem Soc. And the thing is that he inherently might not be in the left, but you have to admit the amount he's done for the left and bringing people
The left. He's the amount he's done for the left,
reducing Red
and like
Scare
not
is good.
and just the amount of people he's inspired to go further left also.
Yeah, he himself, whether this is the thing about Bernie, he will never, even if he's communist, even if he's anarcho-communist, he will never say that. He has to, because he knows that his state, Vermont, is red if he appears a certain way. It's not a big socialist state. It votes for him because they like him as a person. They like his policies, XYZ. But Vermont overnight would not vote for someone who advocates for communism like if Bernie did. It's because he is somewhat more moderate in his left policies.
Because if he comes off as too red, I mean like too red by too communist or too socialist, he will probably could never enter the political rink in the USA ever again.
Yeah, because the USA has a very right-shifted alignment in all the parties. Like
The Red Scare, etc.
yeah, and so yeah, the person someone commented reaction is an aesthetic. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like you look at it and you think this is amazing. They've just repeated the point. But if you look at Ben Shapiro's edits, he'll edit it right before the other person makes the point back with the facts, or you know what I mean. But the reason I got into politics is probably because of people like Bernie. Here I kind of looked at a bit of Jeremy Corbyn and his policies, which were good at the time, but the media slated him, and there's no way he could have won the election. But yeah, I sort of just got into politics, so I went right from like beginning to go to the far right to completely shifting and going to the left.
So that's okay. Thank you. So that's basically it, yeah. Or would you like to add more?
I think that's really I'm Christian
Okay.
as well, but so I sort of I look at everything as you should love your neighbor, and so I realized all these right wing stuff and all these conservative stuff weren't loving your neighbor, and it was really contradictory. And so I looked at different ideologies and I was like, which one truly like loves someone and cares about someone? And then I found the left, and I was like, that's the one that is caring about people. That's probably all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, because like most of their views are very contradictory to their own beliefs, like religious beliefs and etc. Yeah. Wait. Shit, hold on.
Yeah.
Who's next? Leslie, would you like to tell us how you became a leftist or a communist? I'll go like I don't know soon after. You're muted, by the way. Leslie?
Yeah. Imperatives.
Can you please check the general chat?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Imperatives. Do you want to explain your thing, and I can read this.
Oh, I see. So, yeah, this is a lot. This is some pretty triggering stuff, I guess you could consider. So, trigger warning, I guess, for those people in chat. Sexual violence, etc. Yeah.
And torture.
Torture. Okay, I will read this for you. Leslie cannot read this right now aloud, as she is not in an environment where that would be possible. Leslie was kinda left due to always having supported the far-left World War II anti-Nazi guerrillas from Yugoslavia. Around the age of 8 or 9, she started presenting feminine. It was clear she was trans. due to due to due to too much physical and other violence in response, and not knowing what any of this even is, she had to shut up about it. Around 10 years old, this escalated into a whole bunch of sexual violence and torture by some around there. This really help her shape her views later. Anger at having to go through sexual violence and tortures interactions for being what they later figure out was just being transgender. How this affected the stability of her very own personality and so on. She started to look into intersectional theory, and that, of course, brought her towards her her radical anarchist communist, etc. Now she's developed her ideology and etc. I hope that cleared off. I hope that cleared it off for people in chat. Um, I guess I could go next.
Thank you.
I guess I could go next. I've been just going from Finn, Leslie, then me, then Cole. Yeah. But
Thank you.
I guess I could go next. Yeah. So my political around started around when I was 10, or no, 2016. I was 9. It started around when my dad started showing me war history, like history videos, specifically World War II. Um. Oh, by the way, Leslie, I am so sorry for what you got through. But yes, it started off with me, learning history, World War II, and etc. That's how that's how most people start off. Yeah. As me, I'm an Austrian. I'm half Austrian. My dad is an Austrian. I'm an Austrian citizen. And I was introduced to the idea of pan-Germanism. And I until now I'm not that against pan-Germanism, like pan like pan-Germanism, as in, like, I guess it was just more unity rather than divide. But the thing, it started off as that, yeah, an Austrian, me being an Austrian. It also, oh, cringe. I hate. Hey, wait, hold on, guys. Can you read the fucking comments? Hold on. Fucking Armando Marcus. I hate a communism. Biden is a stupid. He is a stupid. I agree. Biden is stupid. Trump will be a president of United States. Nah, he lost. He's never gonna win win again.
Can you make me a Twitch mod so that I can ban those people or something?
Armando Marcus.
Maybe we should talk about the chat now. Like, we could do you finish your thing, and then we'll get Cole to finish, and then we'll talk about what we think about Biden's current policies.
Yeah, we can
That could be
definitely
a good
do
way
that.
to do it.
Yeah, we can
So
definitely do
you
that.
finish, and Cola
But
can
yeah.
explain, and then we
But
can
then,
talk about this man.
again. Let's continue. It started off as me being a Austrian. I was introduced to the German Reich, the Third Reich, Hitler's reign. That really instigated my a nationalistic sense in me, because I was an Austrian, he was an Austrian. I told myself, hey, that seems cool. And you think the main, and that also the combination of the right wing internet, the Paul, even former Discord underground Nazi hideouts in Discord. I was introduced to that. I was introduced to the Nazi aesthetic and etc. And that was basically the start of it. I really started off as a strong Christian, as just a conservative, since my mom is pretty conservative. Not She is conservative, yeah. And my dad, not so. I never actually told my dad about this. Well, he found out himself. I never told him about it. But it started off as me being an Austrian, a German nationalist, a pan-German nationalist. Then I started expanding. Then I started meeting new people, and I was introduced to white nationalism and white supremacy. I became a white nationalist, and eventually, thank you, Rata, for the follow. And eventually, I became just a Nazi. I started watching feminists get owned and shit. Like a lot of us, feminists get owned, and Ben Shapiro videos, Infowars, Alex Jones, and I started falling down the alt-right pipeline. Basic. It basically just I was a To put it shortly, just to finish this, I was a white supremacist, neo-Nazi accelerationist. Basically, the Atomwaffen. I was fucking delusional, to be honest. But then, how I got out of it was when I actually started voicing my opinion in the real world. That was a mistake. I actually had people on my side. Thank you, really Wakas is for the follow. But um, again, I started voicing my opinion. It's actually the weird thing is since I was a young impressionable boy. I was like 12 or 11. This was really recent, like early 2019, I think. Um, basically, my people on the internet, 16-year-olds even, 16-year-olds around 16 to 20. How do you pronounce it? Person in chat, real wakas or something. But yeah, it started off as that. Then it started developing into just general and it started propagating even in my actual grade level. I will admit I used to say slurs like on the fucking daily, and people in school did too, mostly because of me, which I regret deeply. And most of the people I've met now, I've tried to change them. Most of the people that used to do that, I've talked to them. I've basically encouraged them not to, and etc. But like that was basically it. Then I started meeting new people. I was starting making friends with a very diverse community in school. I started making friends with people like with people of color, with people of different sexualities and people basically different gender expressions and that started changing my views, really. It started changing me in general. It started changing my attitude. I used to be a Christian nationalist as well. Like, by that I mean, like, I think... And it was very contradictory. Like, as you said, Finn, love your neighbor, which is very contradictory for being a Nazi. So, yeah. And it's...
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
I think that's the one thing is most of these far right organizations aren't particularly Christian, even though they try to portray it. They hide almost
they
behind the scapegoat
use
of
Christianity as
saying,
propaganda, basically.
yeah, it's like they'll hide behind the scapegoat saying we're Christian, and that is why we justify our hate. When actually, if you look at it, most religions like aren't
Fuck.
hateful.
We
They are
could even
based on
argue.
love.
We could even argue that that Jesus was a radical leftist.
For another
Or
day.
we could argue that he was just a neoliberal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He was
that's for
just
another day.
anti-capitalist for the most part too.
I mean, no, I mean, from what I was able to like argue with people, I don't know, but from what I was able to get to debate, he was like a proto-enlightenment, you
Oh,
know, like
yeah.
proto-enlightenment.
I
Like,
should I
I
will
mean,
continue.
of course,
I
he
will
didn't
just end off my story.
exist,
I'll
but
just
like,
end off how I became a leftist, then we can move on to Cola. Oh yeah. Again, then I started meeting new people. I started looking back on myself. Are these really right? Most of my views were contradictory. I used to say shit like 6 million more, or some shit like that. Which is, I think you can make out what that means. But yeah. And that was that I deeply regret that because I was a genuine, and I regret that I tried to spread it too. Like, I tried to spread it amongst my friend group, and they did join for it. Now my friend group now is different. They've learned just like me, but they've not gone radical. I mean, I could make them radical.
to
But yes, that's how it ended really. Then my dad found out, and he was like, "No, can't you see that your views are contradictory? Can't you see this is wrong? Can't you see that this is just not right?" Then after that, I started going liberal. I was becoming a liberal. I was still liberal, if you could argue. I never really knew anything about the liberal, but like I started going liberal. Then I started reading theory. Then that's how eventually I became a radical communist. And not only I also forgot to include that I was an atheist. That I became an atheist midway. Like, I don't really believe in a god, and it's not like I would not go so far to say I'm an anti-theist, but I think religion as like an institution, as a hierarchy, is needs either reform or to be abolished. But yeah, that's how I became a communist, a Marxist. Yeah. So we can move on to Cola. Cola, if you would like to voice your story and how you became a radical communist, as you said now.
I mean, there's not too much to go about. Like,
Yeah.
I was
I mean that
born
would be
in the
preferable.
former Soviet Union,
Oh yes,
because,
because I
like,
guess I mean like I
Russia.
yeah.
I lived.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I lived in a small town, and I I believe everyone except three people were veterans of the Red Army, and they were all radical leftists to an extent, except one guy who was very national Bolshevik. Never liked him, but essentially I
Okay.
just kind of grew up in an environment where capitalism was hated a lot, and even in my school, like they gave out free copies of different books like the Communist Manifesto, The Conquest of Bread, all these very nice, interesting books. And my dad was also part of the Red Army right before the collapse. So that was very interesting. He was a communist, and he essentially hated how the Soviet Union went, how it kind of went the opposite direction of the end goal of communism. But like, yeah, that's essentially how I became a communist. I grew up around communists. I I've always followed like my own path of communism. I haven't been affected to
Yeah. I mean
um
like any like
take on
Marxist
other people's
Leninist or some shit.
ideas, but yeah.
Um I think I just like to mention how I sent off my Nazi pipeline. I used to own an armband, a NSDAP NSDAP National Socialist, you know, the Nazi Party armband and the Nazi Party flag. I used to own one. I sent it off. I think it was mid August 2019. I went into my backyard. I took the flag and I burned it. It was nice. It was nice. I burned it. It I
Yeah.
also I used to and I used to read shit like Mein Kampf and Siege. But yeah, that's how we sent it off. That was I just wanted to share that. But yeah, we're done with introductions and stuff. We can move on to our views on the current President Biden, Joe Biden, Joseph Biden, Joseph Stalin.
Yeah, I think we'll have a big general consensus over these views.
Yeah.
Right. I think we can go over the comments. So a dude said, "I hate communism. Biden's stupid. Trump will be a president of United States. I love a capitalism. Marxist is a cancer." Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
They're
first, I hate
trolling.
communism. Why do you hate communism? Can you define what is
No,
communism
they're
to you?
trolling. They're trolling.
I
They're
know,
just
but like,
spamming.
no,
It's
but I know, but
trolling,
like, it's
but
funny. It's funny.
yeah, no, I think though the thing is, Trump it is to some extent a fascist. His ideology is fascist-like, and
It's Nazi
he
and neo-Nazi
Doesn't
both.
because of him doesn't Trumpism exist? It's like a meme
yeah,
ideology.
It's not a meme ideology.
MAGAism.
It's a tendency inside
Yeah.
politics of the United States.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
most importantly, it is Nazi and neo-Nazi.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he actually did advocate for white supremacy before. So
I mean, as for Nazi, he matches the Ur-Nazism protocols, and for neo-Nazism, you can just take a look at his policies
yeah,
from every single field you can imagine. Yeah.
I guess you could argue that.
I think also, recently he people have have realized that he's no better than Trump. He does the exact same things Trump does. Like, he's bombing Syria, he's putting them in tents rather than cages to give them heating or food or any of the things that were complained about. So it's effectively just a nicer cage. You know, he in some senses he is no better than Trump.
He's
He's
the
just,
we could argue he is the lesser of two evils.
I think you can to an extent, but I think he's the face. You know what I mean? He's the face of the lesser of two evils.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say like
really. To be
um,
honest, he is really no better or no worse than Trump.
Yeah,
He not really. He
fair.
just very recently he bombed fucking Syria.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
a
that's what I'm
few
talking
days
about.
ago.
Like, he's not. People play him off like he's, you know, he's the bet. He's a good president. But he's already making the same mistakes that we criticized the right for at the start of their presidency, and people are claiming that for some
We just
reason
we
he's
replaced
better.
an authoritarian with another authoritarian.
I mean, I would say it's like, you know, Hitler versus Ante-Pavlich, and like Trump is Hitler and no, Trump is Ante-Pavlich and Biden is Hitler. Okay, Hitler is kind of better than Ante-Pavlich. Okay, but like, do you really want to support Hitler?
Yeah,
No.
it's like, yeah, I think I get your analogy. Like it's it's pointing that the system before was bad, like really bad, but this system for the most part is the same but in a different face.
Oh shit! Hold on, one of my friends are in chat. Hi, hi, hi. I guess you didn't expect me to be running one of these podcasts now, didn't you? But yes, continue.
I think it's just, yeah, it's just interesting that as the left we criticize Biden and we criticize his policies all the time, and we criticize that he isn't left. He's not going far enough to stop corporations. He isn't going far enough to
I mean, he's not even a
reach the
liberal.
working class.
He's not even a liberal.
He's a neoliberal.
Oh yeah, but like like what we define as a liberal, like people who still advocate for people who still advocate for capitalism and etc.
Yeah.
I mean, as for liberal or not liberal, he does not advocate for liberté, égalité, fraternité.
I mean, I guess you could say he's like an off center. I mean, I guess you could say he's like off center, like I know. Yeah. We actually, I think we talked about this just a few nights ago. Finn.
Wait, what do you think, Ola?
What? Yeah, what do you think, Ola? What do you think of Biden?
I supported him at first because he promised to end Trump's policies. He never elaborated on it, but I thought he was just going to end them. There wasn't going to be mass deportation anymore, but then he starts deporting double every single day. And frankly, he made it seem like he was going to make everything better, but he's making it worse. And because of Biden, I'm low-key scared for my citizenship right now.
Oh yeah, because that's some personal stuff, but like yeah.
Yeah, I think Biden is the problem in the Democratic Party because they advocated that Bernie, who was predicted to win because he was most people's second candidate, he was outranking Biden as a second candidate. Like, Bernie would have been the choice of the DNC if they didn't have a bias. Bernie would have won and probably would have implemented policies to majorly reform, if not abolish, the current system of ICE. He probably would have been, I don't know about his imperialism, but he would have been much greater in cutting the corporations and cutting the wealth gap to reduce that.
I mean, we
But
could. I mean, we could definitely say that Bernie is more left than Biden.
Yeah, Bernie would have done a better job. I'm not saying he would have done a good job. I'm just saying it better.
I mean, because I think that like one of the disadvantages is that Bernie's just too old, and now he would probably be like. I mean, that's one of the things. Once I kinda want Bernie. He would have done better, but Bernie wasn't that popular rather than Biden or Trump. Like Bernie would have
Daddy
some
Sanders.
like Bernie already had past problems. Like I don't know, fine. He did he was I sorry. I keep like fucking stuttering. Bernie would have done a better job, but it's just that his past faults and his inability to do stuff before is what made his popularity go down. Yeah,
I
Biden.
mean,
We just replaced an authorite president with another authorite president. Like
That's
even when
Bernie picked up.
during fucking Obama's administration. Like I don't support Obama in the sense that he still advocated for bombing the Middle East. He still advocated for American imperialism. I mean, you could say he's better than Trump, but he's definitely like he's not the best either.
I mean, Trump had one very specific thing that's very interesting: his isolationism, militaristically.
He was
Because
orange.
I'm 100% sure that if Trump was in power for like 2 more years, NATO would disband.
I think so.
If he was in power for 2 more years, or even
We
4
can see
more
that-
years, I would not see America staying in many of the relations, and I would see the world deteriorate very quickly.
Trump,
Because
if Trump
from-
continued to be in office, if Trump won the election for 4 more years, I think much of the Western world and like much of the Western world would have already cut ties with America and started to, I guess, cut support for America. And I guess you could say that from then, if Trump continued to be president, the America would slowly deteriorate into a it would slowly deteriorate basically.
I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but as soon as Biden came into power, not only we had the strike in Syria that was not on Iran militia, but basically on the Assad army in the area where they're fighting ISIS. But okay, furthermore, you had offensives in Sinai, you had an offensive in the Renaissance Dam, you had clashes with the Tigray in the Tigray region, you had an offensive of Al-Shabaab in Somalia, you had an offensive of Boko Haram in Nigeria. It's been a while since he took power.
I wanna
clashes in-
play an appropriate song while we stream. I guess it's called Go Home Ami Ami Go Home. It's a German
in the
song.
is that in TOS?
in the first 5 months. I mean, in the
A
first month
Copyright.
It's not
in the
copyright.
first
It's
month
like it's
after-
from the GDR. It's a anti-American song. Basically
There's a
tells
bunch of
the
them.
Americans
Yeah,
to
I
go
know
home.
what song you're talking about.
I'll play it.
Okay. In the first month after Biden took power, 5 fucking wars broke out. All right, 5 wars.
5 already existing wars continued to
No.
well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but before they were like, there was no fighting for 20 years or stuff like that.
Fucking no. I beg to differ.
I don't think it's purely to blame Biden if you're blaming on Boko Haram and stuff, because that's been going on for many years. That's been going on since 2000s. Especially,
But the point is that you had a ceasefire in Nigeria and it's been fucking broken by Boko Haram. But okay. Then you had Al-Shabaab.
you're blaming it on Biden, but it's not his fault.
Al-Shabaab has been, I mean, it can be not his fault, but the point is that countries around the world are much more willing to go into crossfires because they know that NATO will do something now. Countries are much more probable to do stuff when Trump is not
Test,
going
test,
to
test,
isolate
test,
them.
mic test. Hold on. The mic is fucking beeping, I think. There we go. There we go. Sorry, keep talking.
countries around the world are much more probable to wage war once they know that they will get support either by NATO or by tribes. And this is what has happened in the last month.
Yeah, I think I think you have to think about sort of the
Sorry,
country and their
is there
stability as
echo?
well.
Is it echoing?
Yeah, from your end.
I'm reconnecting my mic. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
That should be better.
Okay, so like if you think about stability in countries, it's always been pretty unstable in Africa ever since the end of imperialism because we caused that, we took all the resources, etc. Um, I think the problem we have is that we as Western countries love to go in, not fix the problem, and then come back out and claim we fixed the problem. And that was the big problem with stuff like Afghanistan, where the Taliban has risen and basically is still rising.
Fuck, even
Do
Yugoslavia.
you? It's all across Africa and Asia and the Middle East. Is that we go in, we claim to help, and then we don't, fix
Thank you,
anything.
fucking Stalin.
And that's what countries are
Fucking
afraid
hell.
of. Is that a war
Hold on,
will
hold on.
cause that.
Someone named Stalin 2024 to follow. That's just
Oh, dude, Stalin brings it
Daddy
back.
Stalin, yes.
thank you, Daddy Stalin, for the follow. Oh, there we go.
Amazing.
Continue talking. Sorry.
No, I just finished. I was just saying that we always go in as Western countries and go in and claim to fix the problem, but we just cause more infighting within the countries, and we cause civil wars and uprisings and things like Boko Haram and ISIS and stuff like that to increase every time we go into a coup or etc. etc. That's what's yeah, embarrassed.
I have a question. Like, you keep saying we. Do you mean we as in like the US
As in,
or
yeah, as
we
in,
as in like
or is
just
it like the US and the UK and sort of the allies of that? Not
okay.
specifically your countries or us like running into Afghanistan or Iraq,
Oh, the
like
Western
so
world,
you're
basically the
yeah,
EU,
the
America.
Western world, we the West.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
I
I
think
just
NATO
needed to ask.
peacekeepers are completely useless. They've never really done shit. They've just been there they've just been there sitting in tanks looking at the battlefield. Yes, gone into conflict sometimes, but they will go in there, sit in their tanks until a few months, then they'll come out and say, we've kept peace in the region. We've done our job. We are no longer going to help a war-torn nation because of us.
I mean, we can go on an actual example. For example, Rojava.
Yep.
They had both NATO and Russian peacekeepers. However, we could see very clearly that American peacekeepers were always multiple kilometers away from the front line. So when they retreated, it was only a diplomatic gesture, not a military one. So yeah, exactly. NATO just stands by and is just like support and just covers the oil facilities and so on, just oil facilities and stuff, Nothing really, just oil.
They've never like
Well,
yep.
you do need to look at it from a strategic point of view, though, guys, because yes, NATO doesn't go and fight, but they do actually provide an essential job of covering already occupied land, so the main force can keep advancing. That's actually something many people don't look at when looking at
Yeah,
a strategic point of view, because
Yeah.
if your back is weak, your supply lines are non-existent.
I mean, Rojava has YPG and has no need for some
But
kind of
also fuck NATO.
for a stretcher like that. Rojava can support its own supply lines.
Yeah.
There was no problem with that. America was there only to cover oil fields, and once they retreated, Turkey knew they could just go in. But Turkey is a very complicated subject. We won't get into it, but
Yeah. Turkey is probably something for another
I know.
for
I just
another
needed to
stream.
throw out. I just needed to throw out one thing for NATO. But personally, fuck NATO.
Fuck NATO.
yeah.
That's the new motto. Fuck NATO. Hold on. Someone's saying someone's saying in chat. The real problem is that some countries can't understand that most Middle Eastern countries have different culture and circumstances. Same mistake the Soviets made in the 70s in Afghanistan.
So culturism helps none, except they spelled no one wrong.
No, yeah. No one is spelled right.
Noon, it helps noon, guys.
No.
Oh,
I spelled no one.
Sure,
But like,
you can.
what do you mean culturism or culturalism or whatever?
I mean, you can talk of cultural relativism playing a role in the Middle Eastern conflicts. However, there is nothing about culture that would stop NATO from actually helping their allies instead of helping their oil fields.
yeah.
I mean,
true.
that's the
I think
Soviet thing.
NATO
Yeah. Sorry,
NATO
go.
doesn't really enjoy doing frontline fighting much because it does not go good with the country, because it's almost as if these foreign people have come in, depending on what side it is, especially if it's civil war, have come in, wiped the army and left them with the opposition. That's the that's the losing side's view, and that is really unpopular, and they will play that rhetoric. So NATO just decides, right, we're going to prevent our allies from being cut off, encircled, etc. Like Kola was saying, which doesn't you can argue, yeah, they're just sitting in tanks, they don't do much fighting, but it's the safest way for a country to gain stability.
Can we address the comments in the chat?
Yeah.
Culturalism helps no one.
So
Afghans are not dumb. Multiculturalism and
I
culturalism.
can't even see the comments, I'll be honest.
You can pull it up on
post the
something, I
comments
guess, like your phone or something. I don't know.
Wait, I'll send them to chat. That's one of the yeah.
Yeah, you can see
Um,
something. But yeah, it says here. They say culturalism helps or culturism helps no one. Afghans are not doomed to tribal rule. Then the thing with the Middle Eastern countries is the importance of tribal systems and religious traditional values. What can we say on this, or what do you think on this?
I mean, I think I could say one thing.
Yeah.
I'd say that culture is the. I mean, when you say culture in this sense, you do not refer to culture sociologically. You refer to politologically conservative culture. You refer to what they're intrinsically inclined to behave as, which is not a thing. Culture is the current conglomerate of social and technological material conditions, and if those changes, culture changes too. So basically, if you have Levant in 1918 being like the end of World War One and so on, and it is very much different to Damascus now. Today, Damascus is a highly technological city. You have a very developed stuff over there, and that's like saying Syria. That's like saying Middle Easterners from the beginning of the 20th century are doomed to tribal rule.
I mean, that's just
a
factually wrong.
Syria.
I guess.
it's similar. Is it not similar to the sort of argument that when we colonize, like it's not an argument I would use. It's an argument at the right. They would argue when we colonized Africa, we gave them civilization, but before they were
Civilized them.
savages. And yeah, this is the sort of same argument. It's saying that their culture is bad and the Western culture is civilized. No, their culture is different, and it's unique, and it's diverse, but it's not inherently bad. It's just different from what we are used to. Their culture holds a lot of different views. Like it would hold more of a collectivist view, a community view, than ours would. Ours is more individualistic, but that doesn't make it any worse or any better.
It's like calling someone's culture be barbaric just because it's not yours.
Yeah.
Furthermore, cultures have kind of been merging lately. You can't say Iran has a different culture than we do.
You can say that,
sure,
yeah.
you can say they have no, you can say they have different cultural elements.
Yeah.
But you cannot say culture is separate.
Yeah, no, culture isn't separated, but this person is arguing the idea that culturism helps no one. But it's the culturistic aspects that are different in every single person's sort of history and their their sort of life has to be sort of, that's what culture is. It respects that and sort of comments on that through culture. And we have to respect that, and we have to learn from the mistakes we've made in the past, and so that we can progress to forwards and toward a better future.
Yep. Hold on, shit. I just
Okay,
refreshed
so
chat.
I'm just gonna
I just
throw
lost chat.
something
Hold
out
on. I
there
kind of
about
refreshed the stream and it's gone now. Someone was
Ah,
talking
right.
about Turkey being in two
yeah,
worlds.
it's
Can you read that out?
Yeah, somebody said Turkey is a country with two worlds. They need to
Wait,
choose
wait,
either
wait,
to
wait,
be
hold
part
on.
of the EU.
Kola, were you about to say something, Kola?
yeah, I was, but it's
Go
fine.
ahead,
We
no,
we
go
can
ahead, go ahead.
continue.
No. We'll read the
Say,
comment and you can say it.
Okay, okay, so about the culture thing, I did just want to say one thing. I personally believe that while the culture itself isn't bad, there can be bad aspects of a culture.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's multiple African cultures that it essentially endorses pedophilia or abuse towards women or misogyny, sexism, racism. Some cultures do have bad aspects, and I do believe that sometimes cultures do need to be changed by an outside influence to get rid of those bad influences. Not the entire culture, but just the certain aspects like the sexist or pedophilic aspect.
Mm.
but that's not
Yeah, no,
correct.
that's good. That's a good take on it.
No, that's definitely a good take. Yeah, I agree with that. Um,
Okay, there is a thing I would like to address. This new thing, Turkey is a country with two worlds. They need to choose either to be the part of the EU or to be part of the Islamic Sunni world, and it's clear which options they choose. However, I would like to point out that this statement is very interesting because here we get to the problem with Turkey, right? Turkey has aggressed every single of its allies or enemies. It's been aggressive in Libya, in Syria, in Iraq, in Iran, in Armenia, in Greece, in Ukraine, and the point is that it has not chosen either. It has chosen to use American isolationism under Trump to attack everybody around it and triple its area of influence, of sphere of influence. And this means that Turkey has not chosen either the EU or the Sunni world. It has chosen its own axis, the axis of Ankara, with supporting the incursions in Syria in attacking and then attacking the Peshmerga in Iraq and so on. They really have not joined either Sunni or the EU. They have instead built their own unsustainable policy, which which is basically Erdogan's expansionism
there
using
is some
Trump's
Discord
isolation.
chat right now.
And now they'll have to go back to their usual state because Trump is gone, Biden is back. They'll have to cooperate with both uh, the US in the Middle East and the EU up north. So it's basically done. They have not chosen anything. They're basically in a stalemate. It's not like they've
Yeah.
gone Sunni or gone EU.
They're saying that Wahhabis are that the Sunni world doesn't exist and Wahhabis are also a political bloc. But what does that mean? Like I think it was that.
I mean, we have a problem with. I think we have a problem with esoteric and national arguments over there. Those are national and esoteric arguments, not imperialist analysis.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's the path they're going down with.
Someone's asked something about pro-infrared or anti, and I don't understand what it means.
They yeah. David Geo asks, are you guys pro infrared or anti? What did I mean by that? I actually am confused. Can
What's
you, David? Can you please
what's
enlighten us? What do you
infrared?
mean by pro infrared and anti infrared?
All I can think about is infrared is like the cameras that are used on helicopters and
Yeah, that's
military
what I'm
equipment.
thinking of right now. I'm thinking of the cameras on
Don't worry,
helicopters, planes,
I'm googling
missiles, and
this.
etc.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you please enlighten us? What is pro-infrared?
Oh,
It's a new.
Marxist debater. Wait.
Oh, I see.
Um,
We've actually never heard of
I
him,
looked it
so
up, and it's
well,
an
I'll
investment group.
it's a group, like I guess like this. I mean, you guys.
I looked it up, and I found an investment firm.
Hold on.
So I don't know
Where
what
can
it
you find them?
is.
Are they on Twitch? Are they on Twitch?
Hmm.
Oh, actually, one of the people in chat, I think it's quote me if HC dies is Palestinian, so I guess he's is he? Are they on Twitch?
Red Show. That's apparently what they're called. That's what he's telling us.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Yeah. I mean,
Infrared show. Yeah, they're on Twitch. They're on Twitch.
Okay, well,
see. Well, I guess right now
since the question was if we're pro or anti, I'm
I
gonna
see it.
voice
I
my
see it here.
opinion of I'm neutral on the fact that I do not have enough information.
same. I'll check them out definitely, but
Yeah,
I can't say right now.
I can't say right
look up
now.
them
Check
pro or
them
Well,
out
anti
when
because I
I've
don't know about
I'll
them.
check them out
I've
when
definitely
I'm
heard.
retarded,
I've definitely
but-
seen them before, but I've never like heard of them or like watched them. So for now, David, we have no answer. They're MLs. They're
We'll-
MLs.
We'll tell you about it next week.
Yeah, next week next Saturday, 6 p.m. GMT plus.
Yeah. The Saudis are a gang of killers. The Arabs in Saudi Arabia deserve better. Jeez, we're really getting onto like contentious topics this week.
Yeah,
comrade,
we just
please do
started.
not
Holy
read out-
shit!
Can we stop bullying the
Yeah,
Middle East?
you guys can have your discourse in chat. We'll address some of it, but we will probably not discuss it now.
Finn, one thing, please do not read out comments that go against TOS, because when you read them out, you basically
Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't read anything that might mention terrorist groups. Well, actually, I already mentioned a terrorist group, the Atomwaffen Division.
Yeah, it's alright. Just don't like.
Okay,
Don't like quote
shit,
them.
sorry.
in a way that
Thank you,
could be,
David
guys,
GL, for the follow. Yes.
Okay, so,
No, that's yeah.
So, what is y'all's guys' take on Antifa?
Well,
Let's get this
I'm not against Antifa because well I am anti-fascist in a sense that I advocate for anti-fascism, but there are some aspects of not the organization, since Antifa is not an organization, but such as the things is just ruthlessly harassing people that are going home, or fucking burning down homes that are not fascist or are not
imperialist. No. All of this is forged. I have data here. There
Really?
have been 5 terrorist attacks by the left in the last year and 8,000 by the far right. And all 5 leftist attacks were either against the government facilities or against the actual Nazi terrorist groups. There was not a single leftist attack, not a single Antifa attack. All of that is just, basically.
I used to get pummeled by people who
Leslie,
quote unquote. I'm pretty sure that they weren't Antifa, but I've been fucking apparently I've been pummeled by apparently quote unquote Antifa, even though I am a communist. Like I've been called a Nazi just because I'm pro gun.
Wait, what part of Antifa were we talking about? I'm confused.
I think Antifa as a whole.
What are you talking about? As a whole.
Just Antifa as a whole, yeah.
In the sense that I am an anti-fascist, and I would fly the anti-fascist flag proudly.
Yeah, I think it's gotten a bad name.
I'm part of my local Antifa.
Yeah, I think it's got a bad name because of its sort of more violent sort of people pointing at the violent sort of things that are caused by certain Antifa supporters.
Cells, yeah. Certain cells.
Yeah, but
the media just focuses on the few individuals instead of the whole group.
Yeah.
I mean, here I have every single terrorist attack in the United States mapped. And
Yeah,
we can see that
it's-
there have been 8,048 terrorist attacks in 2019 to 2020
Yep.
in the United States. However, there have been exactly 5 leftist attacks, all in Washington or in Oregon.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on. Gobunus
They're-
says the
not
fascist
big.
flag is the 3 arrows. That's just fucking centrism. It's anti-fascist
That's
in the sense it's
wrong. That's
anti-authoritarian.
wrong.
It's
3
anti-authoritarian.
arrows. 3 arrows stand for anti-fascism, anti-capitalism, and anti-fascism, anti-Stalinism, and anti-monarchism.
Yeah. It's
yes.
anti. It's
And
more
they're
no
from
no.
Germany.
That
Iron
flag
Front.
is that flag
It's
is
the flag
more
of the Iron
anti-authoritarian, anti-totalitarian,
Yes.
not anti-communist. They're against
as far
Stalin's
as I
reign and
remember,
etc.
as far as I remember, it's more about German opposition not only to Hitler, not only to what was previously the German Empire, but also to Stalin's influence on crushing the Kommunistische Partei Deutschland. Stalin's influence on not cooperating with communists in Germany. And that is one thing it opposes as well, the 3 arrows thing, you know.
We really should. I think one thing is, we probably shouldn't praise the Soviet Union or Stalin in general. The Soviet Union, there are
I
good
don't.
things. There are
They're
good
good things,
things.
but I think as a whole they were not a good representation
yeah.
of
But that's the thing.
the
Just
West.
because they were so big and so influential, that people use the Soviet Union as their primary argument against socialism or communism or whatever you'd like to say.
I think
Well, I mean, about the Soviet
Definitely.
Union, my
Can you
entire
find a
family
better
is from there, and they have very good opinions about it.
Gobunus says, can you find a better representation, or are we standing with the heroes? There is the anti-fascistische flag, anti-fascistische Action flag.
Antifascistische
Yeah,
Aktion.
yeah. That is
I mean,
the
it's
modern
the same thing.
anti-fascist flag, I guess, the one adapted by Antifa.
I mean, you know, it's just what insignia do you take on? Like, it's the same movement. It's the same thing. It's like saying, do you stand with the hammer in sickle or do you stand with the Communist Manifesto?
yeah.
Like, yeah, you have hammer and sickle on the Communist Manifesto in some prints.
Communist Party. Fuck, I forgot the name. I think it's Communist
Well,
Party.
it's because the hammer and sickle it's essentially
It's been a
because the hammer and sickle became such a symbol of communism. That's
the KPD. Again, Gobunus. It's the Stalin Party. Really, I don't think
No,
KPD
it's not.
was.
It's
It's
not.
not. I don't think it is.
KPD was.
The KPD was abolished, I think.
No,
Even
KPD
after.
was a Luxembourgist party, actually. Formed by
Yeah,
Rosa Luxemburg
Rosa
and
Luxemburg.
her
Yeah.
people. And it was basically attacked by SPD then and by Nazi Germany later. And Thalmann was killed in 1944, and in 1946 or 47 it merged with Sozialistische Partei Deutschland, I think. And since then it does not exist, and it was never Stalinist. I mean, no, Thalmann was not a Stalinist really. He basically.
I don't think.
I mean, if you call him a Stalinist for cooperating with Sozialistische Partei Deutschland, maybe, but like his party was crushed by Stalin a lot during the Weimar Republic and the Nazi Party. Stalin refused to cooperate with it.
Salman was condemned by Stalin, if I recall. He was just Stalin just didn't like him.
Stalin thought those were too anarchic, too consolic, not really vanguardic enough.
Sorry, Godwinus. But the flag, he's saying the flag that the anti-fascistische Aktion flag is of the KPD. It was, and it's not anymore because it doesn't exist, but it's still used today as the modern anti-fascist symbol because it's well, hold on. They're posting the Wikipedia. Hold on.
We probably have read Wikipedia on Thalmann, comrades.
Yeah.
Saying the KPD is Stalinist is different from saying Thalman was Stalinist.
You can say
Because
Stalin was Stalinist, but the KPD
yeah, you
was
can say
not.
that. Yeah, you can say that the leader of the party could be a certain ideology, and sure, you could argue that that's what they side to more towards. But that doesn't mean that every single member in that party will vote for that and is affiliated with that. It just means that your main figurehead will put over policies that are for that.
It's like
The party probably was not promoting Stalinism within Germany.
like how some Republicans are for Trump and some Republicans are against Trump. You can't just group them all together. Because if the leader doesn't, just because the leader was you could say that Stalin was a Stalinist, but you can't say the whole party and every single one of its members advocated for Stalinism, because Stalinism was just a cult of personality rather than an ideology. Oh, I didn't say. Oh, I think it's no. Sorry, I was just saying.
Yeah.
I think I need to
I
put
think
this.
I think it's also a thing with the USSR.
The KPD was Stalinized later on. It was not. I mean, like,
Yeah.
imagine Rosa Luxemburg being like Heil Stalin. No,
mm,
I've
I think
linked some historical actual stuff over there.
yeah, I think it's interesting if you look at the USSR. Someone commented saying the world, if it wasn't for the USSR, the world wouldn't have seen communism. It wouldn't be the same as it is. And there's quite a few people saying they wouldn't see the real problem, or it would still be a concept. What's your opinions on that?
If the USSR, yeah,
Okay,
I
so
definitely think, because even if the USSR never existed, that's how socialism started. Actually, met intellectuals in a cafe. Fucking
Mm,
Marx and
well,
Engels and the I think Cola had to reconnect. Yep. I mean, yes,
yeah.
if the USSR never existed, I definitely think the concept would have still been real by some intellectuals, because that's how it started, really. The various translators and the various writers of the manifesto.
I think it would have gained steam in other places.
Yeah, rather than Russia, I think
Yeah,
it would have gained steam somewhere like Germany, since socialism was on the
or
rise
even
in
the
those.
UK. The
Yeah, even
UK
in the
was
UK,
very socialist.
especially with the laborers and much of the workers.
Yeah, the original Labour Party was a very socialist party.
Oh, so the Soviet iconography, the fucking banner. That was just because I had
Yeah.
no art for the channel at the time. I was planning on making it, so it's just there as a placeholder for now. The Soviet the Soviet the
I've
background with the Russian and
I've
Soviet. It's just there as it's currently just it's just temporary because I don't have any channel art to put on there.
Wait,
I have taken a look at the papers very quickly again, and it is very clear that the KPD started Stalinizing in after 1925, and especially, but it never fully Stalinized. But the point was that it was basically forced to do so because of their conditions,
They
and
were forced.
started to
I
try
mean,
to Stalin.
if they didn't Stalinize, the USSR wouldn't have funded them, and they would have just
Yeah, I
died
know.
off easily.
Yeah, exactly. But like even their Stalinization wasn't like full Stalinization because Stalin
Yeah.
still betrayed them and so on. So
True.
and later on, especially after 1940s, it seems that Stalin propagated that KPD was Stalinist and made the myth of Stalinist KPD and Talman. And it seems that it wasn't ever
I think
as
it's
Stalinist as Stalin portrayed it.
not that we don't like the Soviets, it's that we don't like Stalin. The Soviet
I don't
Union
like.
was the Soviet Union was not very good, but it was also not bad. It's still a very influential still a very influential state when it comes to socialism.
I think it did good things and bad things. And I
Yeah.
think we have to recognize that and we have to accept. I think there's quite a lot of leftists who are revisionist and don't accept the bad things that was done on the left, but I think that's wrong. I think we do have to accept there was a very poor choice of leadership in some cases and scenarios. But as far as you go, the left isn't inherently authoritarian. So that was that when you point to somewhere like the USSR and refuse to look at someone like Thomas Sankara,
We're
who's a
not
very,
slandering.
very
I mean,
popular leader and very,
sorry,
very good leader. It's a bad sort of comparison.
Democrats.
Especially,
Well,
sorry, you go.
no, you continue.
You
No,
go, man.
sorry, David, the David guy. I mean, are we slandering the USSR? You may say.
No, we're not.
We're criticizing its
No.
We're
flaws,
criticizing
and we're
it.
saying it
We
has
have
We're not
we have
slandering the
critical
USSR.
support of the USSR, rather than just supporting them completely.
I love the USSR. I have their flag right behind me.
I mean, you can. There's definitely some things to love and hate about the USSR, and there's probably, I mean, there's a certain amount of things that outweigh the good, probably.
There's the good and the bad.
Yes,
There
works for
there's the
most things.
good and the bad,
Um,
okay?
Maybe
But
no.
also,
Sorry,
the
I just found it
bad
funny
has
that he
been
suggested.
grossly blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
I think there's
Like,
Social Democrats of Germany represent the same ruling class. Social Democrats are not leftists. That's just my position. No, they are not leftists.
so
I think
Leslie, you was saying something. What was you saying?
Yeah. What were you saying?
That I'm just a little bit saying that they're thinking of us on the liberalism all the way to the USSR axis. Well, it's not either you're a social democrat or you're a Stalinist. There exists libertarian communism. There exists anarcho-communism. There exists even Leslieism and such things which combine, which say that you don't need to. Which say that Marx actually wanted to abolish the state through time. Like Marx was.
I think that was the purpose of a socialist state would be a transitionary state between.
Yeah, not
It would
not from socialism
slowly.
to country.
The main goal of socialism was to slowly abolish class and slowly abolish the state.
yeah.
But from the Gotha program, from the critique of the Gotha program by Karl Marx, I can say that socialism needs to abolish class directly. I mean, instantly, because like you want to have a socialist state, but it needs complete class equality instantly.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Actually, I kind of
think
want to
that
talk about class reductionists. There's so many of them that think. I used to be a class reductionist. I will admit that class is the main divide. It is one of the biggest divides, and it plays part. But they push aside things like race, gender, and sexuality, and
no,
stuff.
I think race, gender, and sex are all, or sexism, but race and gender are social constructs that were used by class to oppress.
Sex is a social construct.
Technically, yes, but I think sex can be used biologically as well.
Yeah.
When you define medical terms such as prostate cancer and breast cancer, when you have to look at the sex of that, when you look at the anatomy, and you know what I mean. I'm not diminishing anyone's experience who has these, but I'm just saying that biologically there are some differences between like born sex, male and females.
Yeah, but it's not binary. It's bimodal.
Yeah. I mean, kind of binary.
I actually would want.
No, it's
I would
bimodal.
like
It's not
to
binary.
slightly disagree here.
Sex.
I believe that you have to look at it completely different. Sex is a more biological term, but the real social construct would be gender.
Yeah, that's gender.
But the fact that for example, sexual characteristics are being assigned to males or females are a social construct too, because if you went actually biologically,
I've heard
you'd
of
have
this
to define each set
argument.
of chromosomes. You'd have to go chromosomically then,
No,
We
I'm just
we can
saying
say
that.
that we can say that biological sexes are XX, XY, XXY, and so on. Sure, but
That's what
then
we're
you
agreeing.
cannot say male and female.
Yeah, there are people that are intersex such.
Well,
That's exactly what I was talking.
well, the reason it goes by male and female and not like XY, XX, YY, whatever,
It's
is
easier to refer
because
to.
like the entire concept did not exist when the words of male and female
So
were
change the concept.
invented.
Change the concept.
Like
outdated.
chromosome was a chromosome was not even theorized at that point in
Yeah.
time, so you can't really demeanor it through that because that's not a social problem. That would be more of a
Then-
language problem.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
a
agree,
dialect
but
problem.
I agree
Sure.
that you cannot blame the past for that, but you can change it now. We can now stop talking of. We can now differentiate between chromosomal sex and social sex and social and gender. Those are three different things. Social sex.
Yes, I do agree we can change it, but that's like it's nigh impossible to
But it
do
has
that
already changed
because
in science.
you would have to take a long-standing process of developing a language, and you would have to change all of that across the entire world for that to be accepted.
No,
And
science
that
already
is
uses
nearly
that.
impossible because the term is yes, scientifically yes, that has already been changed. But language is not a science.
It is.
That is more of a
It's not. It's more of an art than a
the
science.
process of
Fucking hell.
yeah, language is more of an art than a science.
Language is a social
And
construct.
to change that, you would have to change all. Are you saying I'm gonna have a class divide because I speak two languages?
I mean, no. What I'm saying is that the language has changed through the last few years, and the term gender has changed completely in the last 50 years. Completely.
No, we're not. We're not
Yeah, the
saying
term gender though, but
And the term
like
sex
we're
as well.
saying, we're seeing it as two. I think that you shouldn't see it as a social construct, but two separate entities, because sex and gender are essentially different. One's a social construct and one's a biological construct. And I
It is a
don't think it's fair to criticize it just based off of terms used. That would be like I'm criticizing maybe a nationalist because they have the term nationalist, and that can be seen as a fascist term.
But
Yeah,
I'm not doing that. I'm saying I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is that, for example, you have a set of characteristics, another set of characteristics, but there are not two sets. They overlap. Why did we draw a boundary where we did? Why? There is no reason to. Why did we? Because we did not understand it. Now we understand it and we can change it. And furthermore, we can change language in a few decades. That's doable. We have done that already a number of times.
the point he's making is that if you
Okay.
there's clear differences between the XY chromosome and the XX chromosome, and the way that we've been able to determine those differences is by adding the label one is male and one's female to incorporate those
Actually,
chromosomes.
that's not true. Actually, those characteristics are not inherent to one set because there's fluctuations within each set that actually overlap with the other. So it's impossible to say whether one is female or male just from their sexual characteristics.
What do you mean their sexual characteristics than their genitalia?
Yeah, it's impossible to
Yeah,
say their chromosomes from their genitalia. Yes.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying biological DNA. I'm
Well,
saying
yes,
their
that's a different thing than
chromosomes,
sex.
not.
That's not sex. That's chromosomal sex. When we say sex, we mean sexual characteristics like
Penis,
Wait,
a penis or a
wait,
vagina, etc.
Leslie.
That's not what we're meaning.
I Leslie, I'm so confused. You've confused my tiny Russian brain. Like,
Um,
I've taken multiple
um, uh,
biology
I
courses,
feel like this
and
would be
there's a
a
clear
very
correlation to penis
expendable
and an
topic. I think
X
we can
and
talk about
Y
this.
chromosome.
There's a correlation, but there's a correlation and a causation, but there is not a linear causation. It's bimodal causation, not binary.
I think we're gonna agree to disagree though,
I'm
because I
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna change our opinion.
This would probably be
yes,
better
I
for
I
another
have
episode
to
on the
I have
podcast.
to
But we
respectfully
can start discussing this
I
again. Maybe
have to
can we move
respectfully
on to
agree to
another topic?
disagree. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
Um, again, there's some people here again in
God,
chat. This was
I'm
already like a few
confused
minutes
now.
ago.
My head hurts.
They said I am less concerned with ideological doctrines. I am only interested in biological science, and I have to tell you that there were fantastic bioscientists in the Soviet Union, amazing personalities such as Lysenko. Lysenko.
Lyshenko.
Lyshenko. I
Oh,
don't
I
know
sanko daddy.
very good. Ugh. But yeah.
Yeah. But, mm, I think it's interesting. I, I I don't know if anyone's heard this. It's not got much to do with sexes or anything, but there's a study they did in the Soviet Union, measuring when we should stop. In schools. When should we progress from having children learn social skills to children going to learn more educationally and more, what I mean, more class learning based, and as in classes in like schools, like not as in, what I mean, but
Math, English,
yeah, as in
science.
subject based. And they measured it and they said up until like the age of 7, you should be learning social skills with your peers and learning how to work within, fairly within society and learning all the attributes. And that study was both done in the US and the USSR, and none of them had any clue that they were doing it, which is what I find interesting because I think to some extent that proves we can make major breakthroughs no matter the course in history.
I think the school system.
I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I agree. Actually, I agree. The school systems need to be
I
reformed. At least the
personally
modern one.
don't believe in the education system
Why? You don't mind yet.
because I've learned more through an academic standpoint and a social standpoint outside of my education system than I ever have sitting in the classroom being lectured on how to do something a certain way.
I mean, you can
I
argue that
personally believe that the
the modern school system,
education system has failed.
prepares you for jobs rather than actual real life. Like it prepares you with long hours,
I I would
extensive work,
also I
and
would
etc.
argue against that though.
Why?
Because in my experience of multiple different countries' school system, I've never really gained any talent that would help me in a job except how to say yes sir, yes
No, no, no.
sir,
What I
no
mean by
sir,
preparing you for a job
essentially.
is like conditioning you to a long hour job with extensive work, and yeah, that's what I mean by preparing you, like conditioning you to a job.
I I don't I
Uh,
don't think the education system has prepared me in an efficient way for any sort of job,
um,
but that is just a personal opinion.
It has made you able to be productive.
Hmm.
I think who
It's
was that?
made
I
me
think I
what,
remember in
Leslie?
Leftist United said someone said the meaning of life is to be productive. And who was that? I think it was Miles. Uh, it was someone said that the meaning of life is to be productive and make. What was it again? I forgot, but it
Yeah.
was something like that. But yeah,
I think we were. I think an interesting concept to talk about another day or today would be automation, and should we progress with the automation of industries when we gain the means of production?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
okay, this is just a brief one just for now. Like
Outer
I
space
think the only reason why
utopia.
a lot of things are not automated is because the capitalists are still they if they automate everything they stop there would be I mean they would lose labor. They would lose laborers. They would lose their laborers. They would lose the laborers they have. I think that's really one of the only reasons they're still not automating.
It would open the door for more competition.
I mean, isn't that?
Sort of, I think, if there's not a monopoly already in the market, because it
Yeah.
costs a lot of money to put up your business, etc. And if you have a company like Amazon that takes away most of its jobs and automates them, then they won't be contested in the delivery service because they own so much of that market.
Yeah.
I mean,
True, but it would also
mean-
be easier to grab a foothold in that market if you can just have everything automated. So yes, it would be an uphill battle, but it wouldn't be an impossible battle.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's
And I think that's
impossible, but
why they don't want to automate.
yeah, to an extent, yes, but I think also because the society would in itself collapse because no one would have a means of income if most of the jobs went automated,
Yeah.
and therefore
In
mass
capitalism, at
poverty,
least.
etc. Yeah, like current day, if it automated, no one
But
have a job, etc.
this would be a nice topic for another day.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe in
Dash
the
Telly
next
said it.
year.
Yeah, the dudes just said, the capitalist class stand to gain through automation. It's the fairest point.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fair.
They have everything to gain. They've got the highest profit margins through automizing, and they're doing it right now. But we have to be careful that we don't let them and let them fully optimize without us owning partial or full production at this moment in time.
I mean, the
If
problem
if
is that
capitalists if capitalists if capitalists automate now, millions would lose their livelihoods, and millions would lose their steady form of income. At least in capitalism,
I
that's
mean,
what would happen.
capitalists aren't gonna make a workers work easier by automating it. They're just gonna make them able to do more work,
Yeah.
and that's the
Mm.
problem in capitalism of automation. It's not about singularity.
Yeah,
It's about LTV. Everything is
Alienation,
about
yeah.
LTV.
I mean, it would alienate the
that's
worker. It
Not
would alienate the
alienation.
worker.
Inventory of
For the
value.
worker. Yeah. I mean,
It's
the
about
the
LTV.
capitalists,
yeah,
the goal
that's
of the capitalists would be to make the most amount of profit for the least amount of like payment, or yeah.
What were you saying, Leslie?
Again, yes, continue.
You were
You were saying?
I mean, if a capitalist is able to,
actually it was
wait,
Sorry,
what? I'm confused.
sorry,
Leslie.
Leslie. You can go, Leslie. I will
no,
wait my turn.
you go. I actually don't have much to say.
I mean, we can just
Okay,
end the
so
topic of
about
automation for now. Definitely, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I just have one thing to add to that.
Hmm.
The whole process of um automation is thought of to make it easier for the worker, but it just in turn makes them be able to do more work. That's what happened in the US during the slavery times with the whole cotton gin. It's a widely accepted
I mean, the
theory
Industrial
that if the
Revolution as
cotton
well.
gin
No, no,
never
another one would be the Industrial Revolution.
yeah, yeah, but like it's a full theory in America that if the cotton gin was never invented, slavery would have became too expensive to keep up and it would have died a natural death in America. But with the invention of the cotton gin, it was able to make one slave do the work of 20 slaves previously, and it made slavery more profitable again, which actually led to the CSA and the American Civil War.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, and I agree.
Yeah, that's a fair take on it.
Yeah, but like automation can be uh uh I think automation would be a nice topic for another day, of course. But
Mhm.
I think for now today that would be it. I think, or is there anyone? We've discussed most of the chat's topics and the most of no one's, and we've discussed most of our topics that we've come up with. I
Yeah.
guess. I guess that would be a nice. This would be a nice end to it. I guess. Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
we can call it a day for
sure.
now.
Like
Um,
I could talk for like 10 hours now, but sure.
I've been up for. I haven't slept. But yeah, it's been nice. Again,
I
welcome.
woke up at 3 a.m. It's
Again,
5:30.
welcome to the young.
It's
Again,
like
again.
6 o'clock. I've been up for 3 hours.
You should go to sleep. But like again, well, welcome to the Marxist
No, it's
podcast. It's been.
fine.
Sorry,
I got home at like 3:15. Immediately went to sleep. Woke up like 5 minutes before getting in this call.
oh, that's why. That's why you weren't online. I was pinging you. But yeah. Yeah, I guess this would be a nice note to end it on. Thank you for coming to the Young Marches podcast. Again, welcome. This is the first podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope, and thank you for all the follows today, and thank you for all those who stayed through. Again, cheers. We'll see you again next week.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you for coming.
Freedom to
Bye-bye.
people. No pasaran.
And.